Good afternoon, everybody. It's May 21st. A lot of time has passed. The COVID has changed our perspective on things. I think we all have a greater appreciation for a simpler kind of lifestyle, although we're all going nuts. The family time's key. I want to continue on this discussion about us, and I'm going to use some political scenarios. This is simply to examine ourselves, okay? The message today is beware of our strongest opinions. And by we, I mean me, myself. I must beware of my strongest opinions. And here's why. To our strongest opinions, we are the most unyielding. If we perceive something, and I said perceive because there are no facts out there, we've discussed this already. You're going to pick the facts that support your point of view. That's how our brains work. We're going to overlook or discard or not let in any counterfacts. Today I did a social experiment, is what I call it. I got involved in a conversation with somebody who bashed Donald Trump. Now, I'm not making a political statement here. Everybody is always under my scrutiny, including the president, even though I voted for him. I'm not going to get on a podium and wave a Trump flag, okay? This guy, who I don't even know, says he's responsible for 40 million unemployed. How's that going to work at election time? And he's going to single-handedly kill all of our elderly by going back to work too soon. So I told the guy, ironically his name is Frank, I'm like, hey Frank, I don't even know you. I said, but your logic contradicts itself. You're going to hold it against the guy that he's responsible for all the unemployment, and then you're going to hold it against the guy because he wants to open up and go back to work. It doesn't make any sense. So this is a classic example of firing and wiring our brains so much, and that's neuroscience, by the way. The more we think about something and dwell on something, it becomes hardwired in our brain. That's why we never forget how to walk or ride a bike or swim. We've done it enough times, we've fired it enough times in our brains that we've created a neural network. And we all have a bunch of neural networks. People who are pessimistic, they have started a thought process of pessimism. They've cultivated it long enough to have a neural network, and then all of their stress defaults to pessimism. Conversely, there's people who are optimists. Same thing. We've talked about all this. So I just want to share a little bit of the brain science with you so you can question yourself and actually be more of a critical thinker. Critical thinking means you have to be aware of or make an effort to see the bias in all the information that comes at you. What is the motivation for the entity supplying you the information, and are there any biases? That's actually the easy part. The hard part is identifying your own biases, and we all have them. I work every day to eliminate all my biases. I don't want to have too strong of an opinion of anything. So I actually do have strong opinions of things, but my mind is completely open, which means I know I could be wrong. You know, I've had people, they're flat earthers. They've debated flat earth with me. Now, I don't believe the earth is flat. And I debated with them. Well, it's my opinion. I'm like, well, why do you think the world's flat? And I'll just give you a couple of the things that they've told me, and I'll give you my answers. Well, the world's flat because, you know, the world is supposedly 24,000 miles in circumference, which means it rotates once in 24 hours, which means it's traveling 1,000 miles an hour. I'm like, yeah, okay, so what's your point? Well, how come you don't feel it? How come you don't feel like you're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour? I said, okay, so when you get on an airplane and the airplane's doing 500 miles an hour at 40,000 feet and you get out of your chair, and you stand in the aisle and you jump up and down, how come you don't fly to the back of the airplane? You know why that is? Because it's all relative. Your speed is relative to everything else. Another argument was, I don't even know, there were so many of them. But anyway, the point is, I would gladly debate you. The other argument is, all the photos that have ever taken from space of a spherical globe, those were all taken with fisheye cameras. I'm like, okay, well, can you prove that? How can you possibly prove that? Well, they all are. You know, here's some articles that say it. And there was one guy, he developed a camera and he took a picture of the skyline in Chicago from 60 miles away and there was no curve. I'm like, okay, well, how do you know that was correct? How do you know there's truth in that? So anyway, what do we pick and choose to believe? And then how firmly do we believe it? It's very dangerous to have such strong opinions that you're unyielding. You don't want to even listen to anything else. And that's called cognitive dissonance. That is something our brain does. It rejects anything that goes against our belief system, our perception of reality. And I simply don't want to be that way. I have some dear friends. We talk pretty much every day on a conference call. We keep each other accountable to make sure that we're not overly opinionated. So my one friend, he said to me, I'm having difficulty with stupid people. I'm so tired of stupid people. People who are so opinionated and they think they're right. I go, okay, well, first of all, let's reframe that. And let's not call them stupid. All right? Let's just say we're all influenceable to a degree. Some of us are easily influenced and some of us aren't. Some of us are very skeptical, which my friends are skeptical. So I said, my grandmother, she voted Democratic, period. That's what she was taught. That's what she did. She believed in the Democratic Party and every Democratic candidate she ever voted for. My grandma watched NBC News and took that as the gospel of truth. The gospel of truth. My grandmother was extremely influenceable. But my grandma raised 10 kids during the Great Depression. She cooked, she cleaned, they were resourceful. My grandma was not stupid and my grandma was not weak. My grandma was simply influenceable. So, I wanted to ask yourselves this. What are my biases? And then what are my actions as a result of my biases? You know, with this social experiment on Facebook today about your logic contradicts itself, the guy's like, well, you must watch Fox News. Yeah, I do. I watch about 3 hours of news a day. I watch ABC, I watch CNBC, I watch CNN, I watch Fox News, and then I have a few news resources that I go to that aren't on the TV set. You got to dig them out on the internet. So my question would be, why aren't you watching Fox News? Well, I know the answer to the question. The answer to the question is because the narrative on Fox News doesn't agree with your narrative. So you shun it. And I would argue, are you being objective? Do you have an open mind? I want to know what everybody's saying about everything, okay? And I definitely, with my critical thinking brain, I can see the biases. I can definitely see the biases. I can see Fox News, pro-Republican, pro-Trump, everybody else for the most part, very anti-Trump. Where's the truth in all that? Well, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to subscribe wholeheartedly to any of it. Because there's a narrative. I don't want my opinions to be too strong. And of the ones I'm pretty sure about, like the world's round, I'm still going to tell myself, but I could be wrong. Now, if you want to go have a debate with me, then you got to use math and science with me and get me thinking. And I'll go toe to toe with you. And if you win, I'll be like, I got to do some more research now. Maybe there's something to this flat earth thing. Anyway, the bottom line is, beware of your strongest opinions. I mean, if you are so gung-ho for Donald Trump, it's just easy to use him as an example, or so anti-Trump, like where everything he does is bad or everything he does is good, you're a lost soul. You're not open-minded. Because there's good and bad in everybody. There's truth and falseness on every channel you watch. And it's really hard to dig out the truth, guys. But you'll never dig out the truth if your opinions are so strong that they're unyielding. Then you only know what you know. And you don't know what you don't know because you don't seek out what you don't know. Does that make sense? Nobody knows everything. So today, I'm asking you to challenge yourself. Ask yourself, am I extremely opinionated about certain things? And then review your own behavior as it relates to that. And you're going to find you're going to be watching news, picking facts, choosing articles to support your point of view. That's what you're going to do. But when somebody throws something at you that contradicts it and you don't look at it, or you go, oh, that's bullshit, you're lost. And, you know, what we'll call the new word, not influenceable, we'll call it influenceable. Because that's where we're at with this COVID thing. It's ridiculous. Nobody knows what the truth is. Nobody knows what the numbers are. Everything is skewed. And I will share some very interesting COVID stuff with you in a couple weeks from personal experience. Love you guys. Challenge yourselves every day. Keep prying your minds open. Don't stand your ground on any issue. Challenge yourself. Am I right? I want to be right, right? Look for the truth. You're going to find contradictions in everything you believe. You know, have an open mind, and if you have an open mind, you'll take in more data, and if you take in more data, you'll just be smarter in general. Love you all. Get some exercise. I'll talk to you soon.